You guys probably have to click on the okay, we're going to record kind of thing. So nobody has a deal. Anybody, small multifamily 2 to 20 unit. If not, we'll look one up with PropStream. I'm going to skip the whole about me. You guys kind of know who I am based on the audience. Jack, is that Jack Silver? Yeah, Jack, let me know in the chat, Jack, if you can't join us here. All right, guys. Well, here's what we'll do. I'm gonna switch screens just for a minute. Let me toggle around here on my end. Get the right one up, and we'll do a search for property on PropStream and underwrite it with DealCheck. How's that sound? By the way, I'd love to see you guys on video, even though I'm presenting. I can see faces on the side. It feels weird being on video and not seeing your video, but I understand. All right, so let me get this stuff out of the way. Log in. You guys see my password? Good. You can hack my PropStream account. And guys, if you know, we're going to do these for the next 7-8 weeks. If you run into a deal, let's look at it. Let's look at it together. I'm going to look at, can you guys see the PropStream on my screen right now?
Yep, we see the lovely state of Kansas right there in the middle.
Right in the middle. That's funny, isn't it? I'm going to go ahead. I'm just going to tap on Pensacola. This is one of the, this is a market we're in. We currently live in and most familiar with, so it makes it a little bit easier for me. In testing, I think I did this property earlier this week. So let me make sure. Go in here in rentals. Yep. All right. So I'm going to delete this so we can start over. And this is really to highlight DealCheck and how easy and whatnot. Just show a hand, or Nick can't come on camera. He's in a meeting. Oh, come on, Nick. We'll get to make fun of you. Show of hands are in the chat. I know Jack's looks like Jack's still trying to connect. Scott, you mentioned last night that you used DealCheck, or not last night, but last week. I think you mentioned you used DealCheck. Does anybody else? Eric, Tom, Nick?
Not anymore.
Not anymore? Okay. Why? Why not anymore?
Because you can't project your rent changes and stuff, especially when you're doing value add on a bigger multifamily.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I mean, you can put in a standard like 3% increase over time, but like if you're going to renovate 40 units and make some drastic changes, you got to go year by year and make tweaks. Yeah,
I haven't played around with that. The reason why I'm scratching my head, I think there is a way to do it. I think, but I don't know off the top of my head. Let's look into it at some point in time. One of the things I do want to mention with DealCheck is when you come in here, and the very first thing you need to do is change or update your purchase criteria, right? And this is kind of how I've set it with mine, because you still can. I just can't defend myself. That's right, Nick. We can still make fun of you. Once we enter the address and everything populates like automatically, we're going to see right away if it is a property we want to go forward with. And so it makes it really easy if you already have that purchase criteria set up, right? I had put 500 in here a month. I don't know why that was. I must have been playing around. Oh, 500. Yeah. Per unit is 100. Okay. Just make sure that's right. So there is some, I don't know if you call it hacking, or Scott, maybe there's a better technological term for this, but when DealCheck pulls public records with small multifamilies, they sometimes will treat it as a 1-unit property. So you kind of have to finagle the data just a little bit, right? So while it does all the heavy lifting, there is some tweaking that has to be done with this, right? So let's just take our property right here. Where's the address? It's one thing I don't like about PropStream is how it shows up on the screen. 7836 Whitmire. Okay. Guys, for those of you who were at Capcom or even on a call recently, and you heard me bragging about Dre, my VA, she is here with us. So Dre, hello, Dre.
Hello, everyone.
Good to see you. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning where she's at right now. So here's what we're going to do when we import a property. We're going to go over here. We're going to tap on add property, right? For some of you, this is not new. And we're just going to type in the address. Now, I copied it. So you can see that auto populates. We're going to click search. I'm not going to save that as my address. And it brings in some pretty interesting data right off the top, right? Multifamily built in 1976. Number of units, 1. We know that's not true based on what we just looked at is a multifamily. So that's why I was talking about sometimes you have to kind of finagle the numbers a little bit. You have the option when you do the import to do a DEALCHECK estimate, a realtor.com estimate, Rentcast, also for an estimate. Do you guys know, are you familiar with Rentcast at all? Anybody?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically rent-a-meter, right? Same thing.
It is a competitor to Rent-A-Meter, but it's DEALCHECK's product to Rent-A-Meter, right? And that's where, when you see here in a minute, when it imports, it's pulling from Rentcast to do the estimates on the cash flow and everything, right? Tax assessed property, last assessment, tax amount. We do, if it has a blue check box, we can say import it or not import it, right? Lots of other information. One thing I love about this, if it has been listed on the MLS recently, then all these photos are automatically going to come in. And who doesn't like nice photos on a nice report, right? So all those are going to come in. I don't think you have an option to edit those or remove them anyway, but I think reports look so much better when they have photos in them. And so here is the MLS listing information, listing agent, whatnot. Okay, so we're going to save property. We could do save and customize, but we're just going to do save right quick. And you quickly know by this red X over here that it does not meet your criteria, right? If you put them in there, and it tells you where. Even if there is only one red X, then this is going to be a red X for you to come over and kind of investigate what's going on with it. And this is where we're going to finagle it just a little bit. Let's go back to this listing here. 5 bed, 2 bath, number of buildings, number of stories. Let's go to MLS details. All right. 1 acre. Both homes needs lots of work. Qualifies for 4 homes or 2 duplexes. So, is this a single family? It is a single family. Why is it listed as a multifamily dwelling? That is interesting.
I read it. It's like has like a mother-in-law suite, so I guess that's why they're saying multifamily.
It does say mother. Okay.
Well, it says 2. Or was it? I thought it said
Each
2.
home has its own water and electrical meters. Okay. Okay. They just don't show it in the listing. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to edit the property, right? Now, if this was a single family home, it would be easy to look at that, verify the numbers on the rental income, purchase price and whatnot, and that would be it. We're going to go down through here and go through edit property. Sorry, got a little confused there. We are going to use financing. We're not going to label the loan. We're going to do the purchase price, down payment. Obviously, not obvious, but we are going to put 20% down. It is amortization over 25 years. You know, could be 20. I had this conversation with somebody the other day that they didn't know that you can actually negotiate the term of your loan, even interest rate and even the term. I always go in with 30 because I know traditional commercial bankers are going to say, no, we can only offer 20. And amazingly, we usually end up in the middle at 25. Grady, that's what we did on our 16 unit there in Atmore. Purchase cost 3% of the price. Rehab, we're not going to do any rehab. We're going to say this is as is, even though it says it needs a lot of work. Okay, we can come back to that later. This is the part I wanted to get to. Rental income. We're going to edit the rent roll because it has it listed as just one unit, right, as a residential unit. But we know there's 2 duplexes, or excuse me, we know there's 2 units. We're going to say they're similar for easy math, right? Square footage we really don't care about. I want to move this Zoom screen out of the window. Oh, I forgot to put the gross rent. These are actually, we're going to say this one is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, right? And let me open up RentCast real quick. Add this property just so we can get some rental information from that. We've got 1180 on a, we're going to call it a 3-bed, 2-bath. Grady, would you say that's pretty accurate or no?
Depending on what part of town.
32514.
Whitmire. That's probably close.
Yeah. So if we adjust this for a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, it's going to be a little less, right? Maybe closer to 900 for that area. We'll see. All right. So we're going to go back. We can verify that our gross rental is $29.80 a month now. We do have a vacancy rate of 10%. I always use 10%. If you guys use anything different, I'd love to know what it is you use and why you use it. But for this quick napkin test, I always use 10%. Operating expenses, I do use the 50% rule when I'm doing this thing. I don't really itemize anything just yet. If I had more detail on the property, I'd come back in and add this for sure. Appreciation, income, expense, all that stuff will leave the same. Land value, this value is pulled right from the public records. And I noticed earlier, because we were looking at a property here in the same county, is that Escambia County is getting really quick at updating their records. It was a house that sold a week ago today, and it's already updated in the public records, which I thought was pretty wild. So, so there we are. All right. So I think we've got that done. So let's go back and look at our projections here. Sorry, property analysis. All right, so now we're cash flowing, right? If you remember before we added that other unit, we were negative 451. So we're getting some cash flow. We're not getting $100 per unit. We're not getting more than 500. All right, so let's tap into that a little bit. You guys have questions, raise your hand, interrupt me. I can't really see the chat window or screens right now. So you guys have something like that come up, let me know. Operating income. This is interesting. Why does it say 90 per unit? Because 269 divided by 2 is not 90. That's interesting. Sales comps. Yeah, the other thing about this thing too, it is going to bring in single families, right? So that's one thing just to be aware about. I love this rating of A, B, and C to give comparables on the neighborhood, right? I'm sorry, that is just the letter that shows up on the map. It does not do the neighborhood. So just be wary of that when you're trying to hack your way into this. All right, let's take a look at what we could do to potentially bump up their rents, right? Completely, and let's just compare with rent-a-meter. Sometimes I find it good to compare both of those, right? So let's put in the address here. We've got okay. That's about in line. Or is that's lower?
You live in 8900.
Yeah, for some reason I was thinking 1800 is what we put in there. So it's about accurate, right? Let's do this for a 2-bed, 1-bath, just to see. Not much difference. Not much difference. Let's just make them the same. Let's do $100 difference just to play around. I don't think it's going to change a whole lot. We're getting closer though, right? Getting closer. And here's what we haven't factored in yet, right? Is what do we have to put into this thing to make it work? I don't know. You know, this part of town, is that going to pull 1200? I don't know. Definitely need some cleanup. Man, that is is that a closet? Is that a bedroom closet?
Yeah.
Or is that a door to a torture chamber? What is that?
I mean, whatever you want.
Yeah, it could be whatever you want. I love this picture though. Look how the angle of that roof. Scott, I hate to say this, but you're not standing up in that shower, man.
No.
So tiny.
Well, and they've
bathroom.
stretched it too. Look at how wide that toilet is.
Yeah. You got to make it look good, right?
I guess.
Got to be careful about that tile in the ceiling there. Yeah, so I think you're going to put, I mean, just rough numbers, right? We're talking really rough numbers, 20 to 30 into this. Not a paved driveway. That's even more. This is the second property. do like the cottage style home. You got hardwood floors. But you're going to be putting some massive amounts of money in there. Right.
Yeah.
So again, and this is the way I do it, just rough estimates looking at it. It's not going to pass the sniff test, right? It's not going to pass that at all. It's got a rehab cost. Let's just say between the two properties, 45,000. All right, we're going to go back. Total cash needed, 90,000. We don't hit our cash on cash return, but we do hit 2 of our 4 investing criteria. It's interesting. Here's one thing I do love about DEALCHECK, and is if we spend a little more time, diving into this opportunity, really fine tune our numbers, then we come down to this offer calculator, right? And out of my way, Zoom window. Based on your criteria, it instantly knows the highest offer that you can be allowed to make based off of your criteria, right? So if we were to tap this, save as the new price, instantly our check mark up here goes green and we hit all of our criteria, right? So Scott, I want to put you on the spot, man. I know you're in the multifamily, small multifamily space. What would you do next to underwrite this one?
So I'm still curious on your rents, right? And there's still some hesitancy as to whether or not those rents are actually accurate and you can get those there.
Yep.
So I'd be looking at that map and see where are those similar rents? Are they nearby? How far away are you from those? Yeah, so I pull up that.
They're not going to be too far off. If you're asking specific about this property, they're not going to be too far off. Typically, and Grady, back me up on this if I'm inaccurate, but the area you see in the map, rents are going to be very similar. Now, if you were to move out toward where Grady lives or toward I live, or what's called East Hill in Pensacola, which is right here at the very bottom of that, rents are going to be dramatically different.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, because look at that. So if you look at that map, the lower left, it's much cheaper. The more you go up, right, you've got rents that are higher than you right next to your property. And so that area that you're in could theoretically be a bit more.
Gotcha. Yeah. Grady, am I off on that? What is it? Viewpoint?
You're pretty close. I mean, pretty much like the middle, like let's say the bottom left going up. Those are going to be like your lower area.
Yeah.
And then once you get to like Ansley Ferry Pass and around the airport, they'll get more expensive.
Yeah.
So then your next item that you got to be worried about, right, is what's the actual rehab, or how much are you going to have to put into it, right? Because just looking at those things, right, we're going to have to estimate what the rehab was. And I missed it. Did you put in an estimate for that?
I did. I estimated 45,000 between the two properties.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so even with that, you're still getting your 8% cash on cash.
Correct. Yeah. If we were to offer 130 or 149.
That's not bad.
No. Now, likelihood of staying on budget, that quick of a math of going 45,000, right? That's that is it's interesting. I want to dive into what I'm probably going to regret saying this, but what Tom said. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to do that later. I think there's a way to do it. Maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of Gway's fancy spreadsheet, Tom. Because I know
think
we can
so.
run that one.
Yeah, because we looked at this one a little bit with Waith and Tom. I don't think it's there.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right. You guys want to look at another one?
Sure. Where's the data? Why is this thing off on the units and the data that it's pulling in on everything? Everything that I've had it pull in, it's not giving the unit counts and stuff, right?
Yeah, and it pulls from county records, right? So let's just verify that this is the Escambia County. Was it Whitmire? 7836 Whitmire. It pulls whatever's from the county records. Now this one does say multifamily 2 units. That's interesting. So I don't know why that's not pulling that number right off the bat. Might be a little buggy bug in DEALCHECK.
I'm looking up one that I was doing on mine here and see, because it's and it literally open.
I'll find us another one to look at. See if it does the same thing. Yeah, that's commercial development. Yeah. All right, so let's clear this. Let's go ahead and just set up a filter.
Oh, I see. It's considering 2 different buildings.
For the sake of this exercise, I don't know why I checked individual. I think that's just out of habit. I don't typically look at things that are owned by the corporate. They're just hard. They're a little bit harder to get in touch with. And I'm being lazy. So let's go over to Mobile. Got a few more. Oh, I know what I need to do. MLS status. On market. Okay. Let's just see what we got here for it. All right. So let's pull this one. Did you find that one, Scott?
Which one, mine or yours?
You were looking up.
Yeah, I did. Mine turned out because it's 2 different buildings. It's located like it's 2 different buildings that are 6 units each, and so it doesn't seem to be able to figure out that a single parcel has 2 different buildings on it.
That's the same here, right? So single parcel with 2 different buildings.
Yeah.
Still though, I would think that if it has, I mean, this is the programmer or lack of programming in me coming out, right?
Right.
This is multifamily. I'm looking at 2 units. DEALCHECK should have
You
pulled
would
it in as
think.
2 units. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did the same here. That's interesting. None of these photos were in PropStream. Usually there's some photos in PropStream if they're on an MLS. All right, so let's save this one. Does not hit our criteria, but as we were just talking about, the income is a little off. I'm just curious what this, okay, now that's cool. I haven't seen that yet. Just want to verify one more time what Rentcast shows, or not Rentcast, but Rent-A-Meter. Pleasant Valley Road.
The two ones.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Average 920. This has
It was
been
way higher. It was,
right?
yeah, because it was doing it per square foot, which was interesting when it was calculating the rent.
Yeah, and you know, and I'm gonna say, because we bought quite a few properties in Alabama, that is like single family homes, I should say. That is one thing that I've only found in Alabama that they really focus on, that price per square foot.
Mm-hmm.
It's none of our criteria. Well, we gotta update the income, right?
Yeah, because you only got half of your income in there, right?
Yeah. 920. That's ugly. The LTV. Let's see. I'll leave everything else the same. Now, I will do a more conservative approach, right? So if I see a lower number, I will do that, just on initial underwriting. It's just tough on yours. $850, $1050, $950. Okay. Yep. That is interesting. All right. Why don't I have the option to add? Here it is, Tom. Nope. Sorry, I'm still looking for. This is one way you could hack your vacancy rate to DEALCHECK. Like if you add your specific value, this is what I was thinking of, Tom. I don't know if it applies to what you're specifically looking for to do, but if, let's say, you had you knew the gross potential after all the repairs was done
Yeah,
was
I hear you.
$1,000 a month, right? You could potentially hack it this way and say, okay, for vacancy rate, we're going to actually have a 50% vacancy rate from our gross potential within
On day one,
years
yep.
1 through 3.
No, yeah, that could do it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. But now I'm stumped because now I don't see why I can't add another unit. What am I missing here? Am I in the wrong place?
Do you have it marked as a single family?
Mm. Shouldn't matter. I should be able
Go
to
back to, I always forget if it's property description or worksheet.
I think it's
Yeah, property
property.
type, change it from house to
There
multi.
it is. Check that out.
And then you got your unit composition underneath that, yeah, that you can add in.
Latuga coming in for the win.
Wait till you see the bill.
Send it my way, man. I love it. All right. What do we say? Gross rent was 920.
That was 960.
960. What are you telling me? 920.
Okay, fine. All right. Come on, you don't want to be like the pure middle of the road. C plus. Be a C plus in your neighborhood.
All right, 960. Here we go. Make sure we got everything here. It didn't change much because we changed the initial vacancy, like we were talking about, for the analysis to 50% for years 1 through 3, right? So it's not going to change much, or it shouldn't change at all because we missed, before we were only counting 1 unit. Now we're only counting 1 unit. But I want to go back and change that. We're just going to get rid of that one. We're still not hitting some numbers, right? And we haven't even done any rehab to the property. Now, the listing didn't say anything about it. We don't have any other details of really what we would do to it, other than it's a great location. It's brick, which is awesome. 2-year-old roof, which is awesome. I love that. I don't think I've ever seen this. It's a very sturdy investment. What was it listed for? Do we see? It's been on the market for 87 days for $192,500. Based on our numbers and our criteria, our highest offer is $47,000. I don't think they're going to go for that.
Yeah.
But we can play around with it, right?
Never know.
Let's take off total cash flow. Let's focus on cash flow, $100 per unit. Now we're getting to, a little bit higher, right? I'm not suggesting that you do this at all, unless you're like trying to figure out why is it so much different than the asking price. It could be that it's just a bad investment, but never ever go away from your investing criteria, right? That's the biggest thing. Take off cash flow. Total cash flow has to be a minimum of $500 a month. We're getting closer, but we're still not there, right? And we haven't done any upgrades to the property that we think is going to be needed. So that was pretty quick. Right? Tom, what would you do different on this one? What would be your next step to make sure you got all your numbers in a row?
Like to verify numbers?
Yeah.
I'd call my team, agent, PM,
Yep.
lender if necessary.
Jack says he uses a quick spreadsheet to do a napkin, back of a napkin before doing a deep dive, maybe more efficient. I agree, Jack. One of the things that I'll do, the quicker napkin test, right, is abiding by that 1% rule. Haven't seen a whole lot of deals that add up to that, and there are some economies of scale that happen with the more units you get into, right? That 1% rule, while it may, again, right, it's a rule of thumb, it may not hit that, but then I have seen some where they will hit all of our other investing criteria, even though they didn't hit the 1% rule, right? Because of the economies of scale when it comes to these smaller multifamilies.
Can anyone hear me? Am I able to talk?
There you are. Yeah.
Oh, hey everybody. Sorry. Yeah, I think the 1% rule, the rule, in my opinion, would be if you only hit the 1% rule, you may lose money.
You may, yeah, exactly. You may lose it. That's true. That is true. I didn't expect those to go so quickly. So you guys want to do another one? Anybody got one that they found? Scott, you digging around on,
Sure.
you got one?
I do. Here well, the address is 711 Rock Ledge in Lawrence.
7-Eleven?
Indeed, yes.
Rockledge.
Free Slurpee when you move in.
All right.
So it is it's a 12-unit multifamily.
Yeah, and so it's coming over as a house. We'll need to change that.
Yeah.
I'm
love the differences in those estimates. That is exciting. Deal check. You got to check yourself.
We're going to go with the realtor's estimate. We're going to update the number of units.
So it should be 12 2-1s.
Okay. This is on market, right?
It is not.
It is not.
On market. Well, at that point, man, you're already losing money.
Isn't that the truth? All right. Multifamily. You know the year built?
I do indeed. 1970, I think.
We'll go with it.
1970, indeed. Yes.
Nice. Okay. And you said all 12 of them are 2-bedroom, 1 bath, right?
Yes, as far as I know. I've been writing letters to this guy for like 3 years. So.
What's your gross rent?
$835 each.
Okay. And you did say it was off market, right?
Yeah.
But if you went in and what would be your offer price? Like you've been talking, you said you've sent this guy some letters for a few years now. What's your offer price or purchase price target? And then what are you looking for as far as an ARV?
I mean, so this property is a problem because the actual value is probably closer to 900. That gives us about 75,000 per unit.
Door. Yeah.
But it just doesn't cash flow at all, and I can't figure out why.
Okay, let's try to dive into that. Typically it's one of two things. Either the taxes and insurance are really high, or rents just aren't there to support it, right?
Yeah.
Or
Did I miss
price
did
is
I miss
just-
the part where you put in expenses?
you did well. I'm using the 50% rule.
Oh,
so-
gotcha.
Yeah. And so if we had more information, Scott, you may have, we can go in here. Who's that? Was that Jack?
That
Yeah.
was cool.
Jack, we could come in here and we can itemize it if we wanted to. But just for the sake
I just
of,
feel like there's so many clicks. There's so many clicks here. Like I'd love to just show you.
Or-
I'm not a huge, I don't underwrite too many multifamily, but I do a lot of single family. And I
Yeah.
could like knock it out in like 4 minutes. Like this, all these clicks. This is
Oh.
great for like if you're doing like a real deep dive. I just feel bad for anyone who's going through all this, just like back to math and stuff.
well, it makes it a lot. Once you do it a couple of times, it makes it pretty easy. Really, when you get your purchase criteria set up and you go to add a property and import it, and on single family specifically, you don't have to do any of this hacking that we're doing to make sure that the county records that are pulled over actually are multifamily and you're getting the units and everything. It does.
Yeah.
It is a little smoother for single family for sure.
Also, the better, the area, you can like estimate property taxes pretty quick. And sure, if you have other units in the
Yeah.
neighborhood, you can, insurance, what you're paying your PM already, and all, what loan options you
Yep.
got. It should be like 7 entries, and then you mess around with it a little bit
Yeah, and
and
that's
move on.
it definitely gets a lot quicker with that. Scott, do you have? All right, so you're saying this
don't.
does not. What's that?
Yeah, I don't know anything else about it, right? It's off market. He hasn't given any financials or anything like that. So the 50% expenses is what I've been going off of it.
Okay.
But the more I look at it, my biggest issue on this one, right, is purely the loan. It's the financing on it.
Yeah.
7% on a 25-year. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Maybe there's an interest only option or something you can find.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's there are a lot of guys out there who do that where they'll do an interest only loan knowing that they're going to exit the property within 5 years and there's no debt pay down or it's going to appreciate. They know they're going to go up in rents, so that when that 5-year arm or 7-year arm comes up for its balloon to refinance or rate adjustment, they feel like they're going to build the value, either force it in or it's just naturally going to appreciate. I don't know. Like I struggle with that sometimes. I feel like maybe it's an old school way of thinking is that, man, we want to pay down on that mortgage, even if it's just a little bit, because really in the first, 5, almost 10 years, you're heavy on interest anyway.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. If you're confident, in the area and
Yeah.
you want to get a deal done, I mean, yeah, I hear you. Today's interest rates will just make it hard to do a deal, especially
To
people
do
are all,
any, yeah.
looking for they're looking for their historic value, but it just doesn't work. I have been seeing some, I've been speaking to a lot of loan officers. There are some like 5-year IO that convert to an ARM, so you don't have to. There's no balloon, but it does turn adjustable rate.
Yeah.
And then I was even speaking to someone yesterday that does a 5-year IO, and then it adjusts to a fixed rate. So you're sort of protected in case the rates do shoot up. You at least know, worst case scenario. I think part of the 5-year thing is like, well, what do we know? What's 5 years going to look like? And that's the thing. I mean, commercial loans are 5-10 years. So, if you want to play with the big boys, that's just a risk that you have to take. There's no other option.
Yep. Rudy says, since it's a 5+ unit, should you change the LTV at 75 instead of 80? You are correct, Rudy. Have I had that on all of them? Sorry, I came in kind of wheels hot today. I even talked about that earlier, didn't I? Thank you, Rudy. All right, Scott. With what we know, man, we're going to offer 575.
Although if you bring that down to a 75% LTV,
I did.
they
What was
actually
your
make
question?
fun of cash values. So I can put in a purchase price of 900 with a 25% down, 6% loan, and get in the green barely, but
Okay.
there's room. There's at least some room. Okay, interesting.
So what does your criteria look like?
Let's see here. Oh, this is what it is. I've got total cash under 200, price per unit less than 120, cash flow 500 total, 150 per unit, cash on cash 8%, and debt coverage of 1.2. Which now that I scroll down, it does not meet most of those.
Yeah. Yeah. At 900, that under price is gonna get you for sure.
It's interesting. I think Jack is right on with this one. It's so much back and forth between things. There's not I don't know. For me as a developer, I'm thinking of, I want to put some numbers like the same numbers that I'm putting in all the price, number of units, price per unit, blah blah blah, whatever, right? And then I want like just a screen of green or red.
Green or red.
There's a ton of back and forth and forgetting to look at different things.
Well, and that's
I have a 3 o'clock, but I did shoot Jay a spreadsheet that I love. You don't have to look at it or even acknowledge it at all. Just if it can help someone.
I'll look at it.
I think will be helpful. But yeah, I'm gonna have to jump off at 3. So it's always a pleasure chatting with you folks.
Thank you, Jack. Yeah, and for the quicker, really what I do, like Scott, you just hit the nail on the head. The napkin test is going to be, okay, what's the target purchase price divided by number of units? You get your average, you get your average cost per door, right? Or whatever you're all in at. You got your rehab in there as well. And then does it hit the 1% rule from there, right? Like if you're getting it for 75,000 a door, am I at least getting, 750 per rent, and from there I would go in and create something like this and really kind of dive into because the end result here is not necessarily like, I know going through kind of what Jack was talking about, you got a simple spreadsheet or just a sheet of paper, you're scratching it off, that kind of passes your test, right? But now if you want to get into with partners and you want to actually show them something to potentially partner with you on, or even go talk to a bank. I have never liked just going and showing them, hey, here's my napkin.
Yeah.
And so and I'm laughing at that because go ahead.
This is certainly sexier. Yeah, like if you have a cool PDF with a picture, and I agree with you 100%. Yeah, my point was just, for the like the back, like just making it work numbers. Like this is really cool.
Yeah, so you're one.
You throw your logo on there, it makes you look like $1 million.
Yeah. And you can also download the PDF or share from here. But I was laughing because back at the company I was a principal at, the IT company I was a principal at, there was, at this point in time, there was probably 20 of us, and we were at this crossroads of where we were going to have to go. And so the managers went off into this weekend retreat kind of thing. And literally one night we found ourselves drunk at the bar. We got out a napkin and we basically, like old school backyard pick teams, right? I was like, all right, I want Scott. And then Casey, the other manager, was like, all right, I want Lauren. And I was like, all right, I want Tom. And then he was like, all right, I want Jack. And so we divided the company that way on a freaking napkin. And I probably have that napkin somewhere here in our house just for shits and giggles. But yeah, this is to y'all's point. This is more of a going through the process to create a professional looking report for
This honestly feels like the kind of like the middle, like, so
yeah.
I similar have a spreadsheet, right, that I just throw my quick things in, right, and it gives me the literally 30-second, like, do I even look into this thing or not, right? Like it goes
Yep.
red and I'm like, nope, pass, move on. This would then be the middle one before you move on to like a full-on syndication, you know, Excel spreadsheet or
Spreadsheet,
something
yeah.
like that. That's going to give you like Tom's tweaks and stuff for the long term.
Yeah.
This is kind of my middle of the road. Okay, cool. Let's dive into it a little bit more. It made it through the initial spreadsheet.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Napkin test, come to here, and then maybe go to a spreadsheet. Really just depends. I've been using this for a couple of years now, and I think I just like the idea, like, because I'm in Excel or Google Sheets a lot.
Mhm.
It's nice to have a break from it every now and then, and to come to this and look at it.
Those
And,
users that need the pretty pictures, man.
I guilty,
Users.
guilty. And I do like the fact of, even though there's a lot of clicking and going back and forth, and maybe I went too fast, is the fact that I can put an address in here and I can click on one button and it pulls in all that information already. Right.
Yeah.
I
feels like it's a bit better designed for the single family because so not even just you clicking around, but every time that I have tried to use it, I've been like frustrated with the moving back and forth between like property description, purchase worksheet, and different things like that, and having to tweak the data that it's pulling in.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know, I know and sometimes PropStream runs into this. Well, you and I chatted about that yesterday about how PropStream runs into that too, where you try to pull a multifamily and they're all pulling for the same county records. Right.
Right.
So it could be that, but I don't know. I like it. I've not used it really for any other burrs, rentals, flips. I mean, excuse me, burrs, flips, or wholesale, because I don't do any of that. But it does have those capabilities, so I can't speak to that.
What do you get for the owner lookup on it? So I find it interesting. So that property that I was looking at, there's like a whole research tab or whatever that's got like records and owner lookup and stuff.
Yeah.
It's got nothing. It didn't pull anything up for me.
Under records and listings.
Yeah. And then there's like owner lookup. Oh, over on the left in the research tab.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I was looking right. No information available.
Which is very strange because it's literally on the county thing. Exactly. It's got RA's name, mailing address. It's all there.
So some of these software and some of these software packages, including PropStream made an announcement last year that is that what you have on that one?
Yep.
RA rentals. I don't remember exactly how they worded it, but basically a lot of this information was cut off, and the way I took it, the right person had to be lobbied for them to get access back to that information. I don't know what all that means. So it could be that DEALCHECK just doesn't have that yet.
Gotcha.
I know this is relatively a newer feature that DEALCHECK is providing.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, like it's RA Rentals is super public. I was just very surprised that they hadn't pulled it in.
Yeah. It's a good question. I'm gonna ping DEALCHECK and see if they've got a response to that and why that's the case. Because I want to know. Now I want to know. Lauren's looking it up on Batchley. Says they have RA Rentals as the owner. All right. Any questions? Any feedback at all? Was this helpful? You guys want to do it again? I was planning to do it for next several weeks just for practice. Erica says very helpful. Thank you, Erica. It's good to see you sneaking in there.
Yeah, I was on triple calls, so but I really wanted to jump in on this, but it was really hard to listen to 3 people talk.
I
Triple
bet, I
booked,
bet,
triple booked.
I bet.
Hustle. Hashtag hustle. Yep.
That's it. That's it. I'm glad you jumped on. I need to call you. I got a question to ask you, so I'm gonna write
Uh-oh.
you down. It's all good.
Oh, okay. You know, it's so funny because at Wyndham, we just went through a round of layoffs and I was avoiding any phone calls coming from the 973 area code.
That's funny. That's funny.
Phone
It's,
calls. That's nice of them.
yeah. Well, did you just get an email, Scott?
Yep, mine was an email at 6 a.m.
Wow.
Says you don't have access to anything anymore, which is strange because they cut our access to our email.
Yeah,
Subject
I
was
did see
time to
that.
drink.
All right. All right, y'all. I was going to give away access to lifetime access to DealCheck, but most of you guys were at Capcom. You got it anyway for being there. So Tom, you want it?
I appreciate that. Give it to someone that needs it.
Okay. I like it. I like it. All right. Well, guys, we'll do this again next week. I would love for somebody to bring a property, and I'm going to work on it too, but I'd love for somebody to bring a property they're interested in looking at and it's got a little bit more information, and we can get into the financials, like really itemize this stuff and really put this system to a test. That'd be great. So
I will go through. So you sent me that list yesterday. That's where this one came off of. It flagged
Okay.
out because this is one I've looked at before. So I'm slowly going through your spreadsheet you sent me yesterday.
all right.
I'll bring a couple more addresses.
Be
I got a
awesome.
74 unit I can share with you with all the numbers and stuff, but
Okay.
the numbers don't work out, but I can send it to you.
All right.
I mean, 5.4 cap, you know, an 8 cap market at 7% interest.
Yeah. It's what's the mix on the units? How many is it? Are they all the
It's-
same? Like 2 ones?
Yeah, it's like 2 circles of 30 some duplexes.
Oh wow. Okay. So you're basically buying up the neighborhood.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not, because I'm not paying whatever they want, $5.7 million for that mess.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah. That's crazy. We had a
Yeah.
long discussion last night about that kind of thing going on. So
I told the realtor I'll give him 2. She said I didn't take it.
so there was a I forget how many units this was. It was around 70 or something. It was around 70. Tertiary market, and broker brought it to me and he said, "Hey, I know you buy in this area and there are not a lot of buyers there. I want you to take a look at it, and I understand that the seller is pretty motivated." So okay, good. And so I underwrote it, and he said the asking is 2.1, and I underwrote it, and I went back and I said, "Jason," I said, "I think you flipped some numbers on me." I said, "Because at 1.2, this is a pretty good deal." And he goes, no, it's 2.1. I was like, "I'm not your buyer." And he goes, "We need to make an offer. The guy's ready to move." And I was like, "I tell you what, I normally, when I underwrite something like when I go through, like Scott was talking about, you put it through the napkin test, you put it through the middle tier, then you really dive into the numbers on the spreadsheet. When I do that, I reward myself by making an offer, right? And a lot of times I'm the first one to do that, and I get a lot of no's, right? It's like the shockwave of, oh God, here we are. And so I told the broker, I said, "I'm not going to do that this time." I said, and it was like May or June. December, I said, December rolls around, I'm going to set a reminder, follow up with you if it's still available. And I said, we'll take an offer. I said, because I don't, if he's wanting 2.1 and he's motivated, I don't think he's had enough pain to go away yet, or to sell it at that price. Still available. still, long story short, still available. It'll probably end up on LoopNet before too long. So.
I have a portfolio of 228 single family homes that keeps hitting my inbox like every month for the last year. And they want 19.5 for the whole thing. And I can't get it to work past 3.5. So
Little daylight between those two.
Yeah.
that is not a motivated seller. So
Yeah, maybe there was a typo. I mean, it happens.
no, he didn't even respond to my 3.5 email offer. So I have no problem offering him low. So
that's funny. All right. Well, all right, y'all. Let's do this again, same time next week. Somebody bring us a deal done right. Scott, I'm looking at you just because you committed
I'll
to
work
it.
on it. Yeah.
All right. All right,
Thank you,
y'all.
sir. Thanks, y'all.
Have a great afternoon.
see you guys.